Now then, people, it's Joe, it's All Leeds TV, and it's time for another episode of Monday Night Football where we have a look at the last game and obviously a quick look ahead to the next fixture, which is Crawley in the FA Cup. And then we will also have a chat with our guests, our lovely guests that you can see on the screen, about their best Leeds five-a-side teams. We've got some cracking guests with us today as well. Sorry for being a little bit late. Obviously, we know that the cockwomble that is Boris is doing a some sort of announcement. You'll all know what's going down. So national lockdown till mid-Feb. So sorry we're a little bit late. We just didn't want to come out at 8 because we figured you'd all be watching that. But yeah, some cracking guests. So we've got Adonis, first of all, the Adelites on Twitter. I'm sure you will all know him, and of course, host of the new, growing, up-and-coming, great podcast that is The Roaring Peacock. How are you, Adonis?
I'm not bad, thanks, mate.
Yeah, all good.
Thanks for inviting me on. I'm not quite sure I'm the cracking guest you build me up to be, but I'll do my best.
You've got to do this. Yeah, thank you, mate. And of course, everyone knows the stat man, Mr. Stats Andrew Stats Dalton. How are you doing, mate? Any
very well.
Any like specific stats from the 4th of January that you want
to? Nothing off the top of my head from the 4th of January, but I think I worked out in the last since 2010, with it being 2011, with it being FA Cup weekend. We've only won 2 third-round FA Cup ties the last 10 seasons, so it's about time we changed that against Crawley Town on I think, is it Sunday? I lose track of days this time.
I think it is Sunday,
yeah.
BBC jobby, I think, this time around, isn't it? Probably expecting a giant killing of some sorts, I think. But Oscar, how are you doing, mate? How are you, fella?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I think, to be fair, I think obviously since the game, I've not felt too bad, mate. I think we've seen it at this. I think we're that long in the tooth now in terms of this Premier League, in terms of the quality of the teams, that we're going to have games like, on Saturday and that lot. And I've seen some massive overreactions, but from non-Leeds fans, which is good to see. It's mainly a couple of people having little pops in that lot at Bielsa. A certain Chelsea fan had a bit of a pop at Bielsa. And then he got... they got done in, didn't they, yesterday? Let's be honest.
Brilliant.
They got pepped yesterday, didn't they? Let's be honest. Yeah. It was it's just a bit of banter. But look, I'm still thinking we can push for top 10, no question about it. I think January's come a really, really good time for us, and we can just hopefully kick it off with a bit of a cup run.
Definitely, it would be nice. I mean, I went walking in the Peak District yesterday. And it was beautiful, seen some beautiful sights, and then got home and seen the storm on Twitter after Frank Lampard's Chelsea were getting absolutely spanked. And I'm not going to lie, Oscar, it was better than the full day itself. I was like, he's going to lose his job. He's going to lose his job. It's coming anyway. I think he's got to get a result. I think in his next Premier League game, I think they've got some favourable fixtures as well, so he's got to make that happen. But let's have a talk about Tottenham then and the weekend's result. Adonis, I know like the majority of Leeds fans, we are okay with the results against the big teams. I know opposing fans or people on the outside find it hard to fathom why we are. But I just wanted to ask, I was thinking about it earlier on, if it was to continue, that every time we came up against the top 6 side and we were getting spanked, would it ever be an issue for you this season, or are you happy to just proceed knowing that we'll do well against the lesser sides?
I think we must be the only side in history that have been promoted, and people are having a meltdown if we lose a game. I know we're very confident. I know Bielsa is God. We've just been promoted. We've got our club costs maybe 5 times less than some of these players that we're playing against. One player. So we're going to lose games. If you look at 38-game season in the Premier League, there are 12 games that you probably don't have a cat in hell's chance of winning. So that's your top 6. I'm not including Arsenal. I'm putting Leicester in there instead of Arsenal. And you only need to win 12 games from that in your first season to stay up. And I think only one team out of the 3 that get promoted usually stay up. Are you there?
Yeah, sorry. No, what it is, if everyone's wondering, Adonis is in Vienna, so I was just waiting for the slight delay just to see if he wanted to add anything else, because there is a slight delay between us. But no, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think it's quite funny that we're getting such media attention for when we're getting beat by these teams, and people seem to forget, like you said, that we have just been promoted. And I go into games and like we had a lot of stick on our watch along of opposing fans saying things like, "Oh, you always get spanked against the bigger teams." But people forget that we got a result against City. We gave Liverpool one hell of a game. We beat Everton. We beat Villa, who are up there now. I'm not saying they're a, maybe Everton might get in the top 6. You don't know. I mean, Villa have had a great start to the season as well. But what's your opinion on it all, Stats? It is a bit mad, isn't it? The sort of media attention we seem to be getting when we're losing against.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, it's just got to be a bit of realism and a bit of expectation that we've just come out of the Championship for the first time in 16 years. And we're going to get these results against the Tottenhams, against the Man United. They're just better teams than us. And for me, it was a free hit on Saturday. We got the result against Burnley, probably for justly a little bit. We got the result against West Bromwich Albion 5-0. And I don't like using the term free hits, but these games we're on 23 points after 17 games. We need 5 wins, 5 more wins to be secure for next season. I don't see that being an issue. Like Sheffield United are doomed. They've got 2 points. I think Adelites is going to find it too difficult at West Brom. And then you look at the likes of possibly Burnley, Brighton, Fulham. They're not great teams, and Leeds will be fine. I just think there's always been this thing with Leeds, especially with the Southern press, that it's always been they've hated Leeds since the Don Revie days. And sometimes there's got to be the realisation, like, I've seen Gabriel Bonlahor on Talk Sport. Yeah. We're forgetting we're missing Robin Koch. We're missing Diego Llorente. We're missing Liam Cooper. Any team without the 3 recognised centre-backs would struggle. And it's like a lot of the press are writing about this. And there's also, I think, a report from Alison Rudd from one of the papers that I picked up on before the Burnley game that Leeds could sleepwalk themselves into relegation. We've just taken 6 points from 9. And I just never understand this wider expectation from Leeds fans. I expect to finish 15th. If we finish 17th, had a brilliant season. We stayed in the Premier League. You then build for next season. So I think sometimes it's just that expectation, not necessarily from Leeds fans, but from probably some aspects of the media, that we know where we are. We know we've just come up after 16 years, and we know it's going to take time to bed in to be a top 6 Premier League side. So I'm fine losing these games. These games are going to happen. And I thought we actually, for half an hour, did all right against Tottenham. Yeah. But the bigger tests will come in the next 2 home games against Brighton and Southampton.
Yeah, stats bang on the money, mate. Bang on the money. Oscar, I don't know if you got a chance to see our good friend from All Stats Aren't We, John McKenzie's tweet earlier on, and I thought it was brilliant. See, I'm going to read it out. He said and I think it's bang on. He said the media narrative, like Stats had mentioned about the Southern press, it says the media narrative about Leeds this season is a correlate for the sort of class ideologies that we see in everyday political discourse. Leeds are the equivalent of a low-income household owning a flat-screen TV. He said, at the opposite end of the spectrum, you have Frank Lampard, a manager who is almost impervious to criticism because he has just fallen on hard times rather than fundamentally being a bad manager. And I think that's bang on, isn't it? We do get a bad rep from the press.
If you had to guess me who tweeted that out, though, of all the Leeds fans around, it would definitely be John. In terms of being that kind of witty and that, like, it'd have to be John, to be fair. Now he's a top man. He's a top man, is John, to be fair. But he's spot on. It is spot on. I think a lot of it comes from not just a dislike of Leeds, a dislike of Bielsa in terms of what Bielsa's threatening the general, what's the best word for it? The general order of the Premier League. That the newly promoted clubs need to stay in their place. They need to sit back, hold on against the little teams, against the big teams, and then try and beat the little teams. And I suppose what we've done is kind of that. We're beating the little teams and struggled against the big teams. But it's the fact that we've not changed our approach. And it just kind of, I don't know if it's hard to explain. I just think Leeds are a fascinating one. I don't see why we get the criticism that we get, to be fair. You know, that we've had a really good week, as stats said, 6 points from 9. You know, that's like Europa League form. You know, that's Europa League form, man. You know, in terms of what we've done the last week or so. We scored 6 goals. Yeah, we've let 3 in against Tottenham, but kept 2 clean sheets in that time. But if you take, obviously, as stats were saying, Koch, Llorente, Cooper are all missing for us. If you took out of Manchester City, Stones, Diaz, Laporte, you are not telling me that they would be keeping the clean sheets or have that defensive record that they've got. I mean, that doesn't seem to be considered. And the facts, of course, that we've had issues at left back, and we've done really well up to this point. For me, I think we should have more points. I think we should have more points than what we've actually got. We've been unlucky in some games. Arsenal, Wolves didn't deserve to lose that one. Liverpool game, debatable as well. I think we've been unlucky at times as well, and it just doesn't seem to be considered, And the other thing I find crazy is this thing about, we're terrible against the big teams. Let's not forget Manchester United got beat 6-1 by Tottenham. Chelsea got absolutely hammered yesterday. It's not just Leeds United. The big teams are the big teams because they're very good teams. Tottenham are a fantastic team. They've got Kane and Son. Look at that second goal. There's nothing we can do about that second goal. As Darren was saying, Darren from All Stats, aren't we? That had nothing to do with the system. That had nothing to do with our system at all. The first and third goals had nothing to do with our system. It was mistakes. And that's the thing. It was not a 3-0 game. That's what I keep saying. And next season, we've seen teams before, Liverpool under Klopp, they needed that bit of time to get used to the league, in terms of adapting to it. And then they spent big. Obviously, they brought in Van Dijk. I'm not saying we're going to do that, but a little bit of investment, it makes a difference, and that's all we need to do. Klopp and Guardiola haven't changed their ways. There's no reason why Bielsa has to change his way as well. I'm not saying we're never going to push for a title realistically unless we get mega investment. That's not what we're trying to do. We're just trusting. For me, I think we've done really well. In terms of where we are now, the rest of the season is pretty much, in terms of the league, it's just about trying to finish as high as we can. There's no real threat of relegation. We need to win 4 or 5 games out of 21. If we can't do that, we deserve to go down. But we are going to do that. We're going to win 4 games out of 21. We've just won 2 this week. So no worries at all for me. No worries at all. I just think it's massively blown out of proportion. I think, obviously, the media don't like the way we play our football. Certain sections of the media don't like the way we play. And Leeds as well. It's a Leeds factor as well. We upset. I mean, it'd be even worse. I tell you now, it'd be even worse if Leeds fans were in the ground at this moment in time, in terms of the atmosphere, the whole. Because it goes against what the Premier League is these days. It's that, and I just think the fact there's not even Leeds fans in the grounds at the moment. I think when Leeds fans get in the ground as well, it'll just get worse. But to be honest, mate, I just read it now. I mean, I saw one earlier today where it said Bielsa's strategy has to be questioned because they got absolutely hammered at Tottenham, Man United and that lot. And then later in the article, they said that Manchester City should sign Diego Costa. So I'm not that bothered. If he thinks that Manchester City should sign Diego Costa and he's criticising Bielsa, I don't think Bielsa's really bothered about that, to be honest. I think he's probably just laughing.
Yeah, definitely, mate. You're bang on the money. Let's talk about some specifics from the game. I see some crazy notion, and we keep discussing it actually, even when we're winning games. Adonis, the mistake by Meslier. He made a similar one against West Brom, but we got away with it against West Brom. I think Dean Garner, he made a double save from, I think it might have been, but he made an error, in the lead up to the penalty. And I've seen some people say, we need a more experienced goalkeeper. We need to bring Kiko back. I'm just trying to think of some of the specifics from the game. But I think Meslier has been absolutely fantastic. I genuinely think he'll go on to be France's number 1. I do believe that. What are your opinions on Meslier? Do you think he needs to pack in playing that ball out from the middle and just stick to chipping it out onto the wings, Adonis?
He's the 10th best goalkeeper in the Premier League from expected goals compared to saves. So I think for somebody who's 20 years old, we got him for 5 million from Lorient, who had just been promoted, and they brought in a new goalkeeper and dropped him. I think he's got a huge career ahead of him. It should be at Leeds. he's already very good. At 20 years old, I was falling asleep in the gutter at 4 a.m. So I think we can afford him a few mistakes.
Yeah, definitely.
He's a great goalkeeper. Anybody who's talking about bringing Kiko in has a very short memory. Kiko has a head like it's been cut off, like he's a headless chicken, basically. He loses his head. He's worse than Pickford, and that's saying something. Kiko cost us promotion, in my opinion, in the second season, and Meslier is a fantastic player and a fantastic prospect. He's doing well. He's playing the way Bielsa wants him to play in terms of his distribution. When he gets it right, we're up the pitch. And all of a sudden, we've got 7 players on 3. So you can't stop. You can't change the system, as you guys were saying. It's got nothing to do with that. It's about eliminating those individual errors, and that will only ever come with time. And he's got 15 years ahead of him, and he's already 10th in the Premier League. So I think he's doing quite well, to be honest. Yeah. I wouldn't worry about it. Everybody's getting so emotional and crazy about it. Don't worry about it. Like, I cannot watch a game without getting extreme anxiety. That's why I don't do watch-alongs like you guys do. But afterwards, on reflection, you just have to enjoy it. You just have to enjoy this, because there's no way we are getting relegated, and we're not going to win every game. And we're playing Bielsa ball, and we're not playing Brexit ball. We're not watching Sunderland and crying on Amazon. It's okay. You're a Leeds. Be proud of your Leeds and have a good time and enjoy it.
Yeah, love that, Adonis. Love that. We've got a comment here, Stats, from Mandy Roller, that says his distribution is awful. Otherwise, he is great. That comment's pretty, no disrespect, Mandy, but I think it's way wider than the mark. I think he's made a few errors, but his distribution on the whole, I just go back to that Arsenal game. I remember when he was chipping them balls out to the wing. I was like, who is this kid, man? Like, I don't know many goalkeepers that can do that.
Joe, when you're a goalkeeper, your mistakes are more in the public eye, especially if it leads to goals. Now, for me, Melié's doing perfectly fine. People don't tend to look at the saves he's made. That game on Saturday could have been 6 or 7, and it not been for the saves to make. Yeah, it's high-risk football, I get that. But that's the risk you take with the way Bielsa plays football. And again, I've no issue with it. And sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. And you look at some of the stuff that Melié's done this season with his quick distribution, you get up field in seconds. And I think there was one incident on Saturday that we had 7 men up front from a Meslier distribution. So I can see some fans getting frustrated. Yes, I get that. But this is a kid, he's 20 years old. He's played 25 games for Leeds United. This is the OTT of him. He's learning as he goes along. We had a goalkeeper with Kiko Casilla who probably made one error too many, and that's why obviously I know Bielsa's hands were forced when Casilla had the 8-game ban, and I think Casilla will probably play against Crawley at the weekend. But I think he's learning every single game. He's making some brilliant saves. What about the double save at Everton that he made back in November to get us the 1-0 victory when Rafinha scored? So, yeah, I can understand fans being a little bit frustrated, but you've got to give this time. Against the better side, you probably are going to get punished. But Leeds' aim this season is to stay in this Premier League, and they'll probably do that quite easily. So, yeah, you're going to make mistakes, but it's part of the learning curve for me.
Yeah, I can see Stats there, that passion behind, like, just leave him alone kind of thing. But no, I'm with you, man. Yeah. I'm with you. I don't get it either. I've had to go on other podcasts and stuff, and people say, oh, he's shaky. And I'm like, well, you're clearly not watching enough games to see that in actual fact. Had he not been in goal, and had Kiko been in goal, I'm telling you, we would have nowhere near the points return we have got now. Because Oscar made a fantastic point before. He said, Meslier should listen to Kiko in training, and everything he tells him to do is just do the exact opposite, and he'll be totally fine. Which I thought was brilliant.
Goalkeeper's that one position where the errors are more profile. It's frustrating. Every time a goalkeeper makes a mistake, we had it with Silvestri at Leeds, we had it with the goalkeeper. Look at Felix Vivaldi. He gave probably heart attacks when he was in goal. So, yeah, I've no issue with Ian Meslier. He'll learn, he'll get better, it'll be better for the experience, and he's made some really good saves so far this season.
Yeah, exactly. Bang on, bang on. Oscar, any other... I'm trying to think, to be honest, like in terms of any sort of key points. There's the penalty situation, but for me, I mean, we were going to get... I don't know, maybe if that doesn't happen and we get in, 0-0, 1-0, it could have been a different game. I thought we did start the game relatively well. Is there any sort of major things you want to touch on in the Tottenham fixture?
Yeah, I mean, I thought when it got to 3-0 after 50 minutes, I said to you on the watch long, I'm thinking a Man United style drubbing here. I honestly did at that point. I thought they've started the second half really well. We hadn't got out of dressing rooms by the time they made it 3 kind of thing. So we were completely off it. But to be fair, Bielsa timed the substitutions to perfection in terms of just calming the game down. I thought the subs did well. I thought Hernandez injected a bit of energy. There was a couple of times where I thought Pablo was a bit greedy. Was just trying to force things a little bit too much. But I thought, to be honest, I think it was just a game where we lost it pretty much either side of half time. I think just for half time we make the mistake, and then the second goal goes in for a moment of quality. The third goal is just come from us not really being at the races at the start of the second half, and that's what's punished us at the end of the day. And I think in other games, I thought we were worse, to be honest with you, against Burnley than what we were against Tottenham. I think and that's
especially in that second half.
Yeah, second half. Against Burnley. I mean, first half we were decent against Burnley, but I think all in all, I think we probably played as well in that game as we did against Tottenham. And sometimes that's just the nature of the league, really. The only thing I say on Meslier is I think he's set the standards for himself so high early in his career that now, whenever he falls a little bit below that, if that makes sense, look, you see that with like the younger players quite a lot. I remember Lewis Cook in his first season at Leeds, when he wasn't quite as good in the second season under Steve Evans, he got a bit of criticism. Charlie Taylor, to be fair, when he's at Leeds. We've seen it with our younger players a bit. I think Alex Mowat as well. All these young players who they weren't quite the same as what they were when they first came, or had periods of bad form, and then they kind of automatically getting this criticism. And I think obviously Meslier, I don't think it's been too much to Meslier criticism. I think there is some flaws to his game, but there's no reason why he can't improve on them. I think there is a legitimate thing about sometimes he is caught behind his line on the set pieces and that. I think we've seen it against Liverpool and Tottenham, but there's nothing really I look to his game and think that's a massive weakness that's going to cost us week in, week out. Casilla, it was just absolutely all over the place. I mean, Casilla against Crawley, I had the fear that he's going to remind us all of why he is second choice on Sunday. I do legitimately have that fear. The fact that Mark Wright from Towie is could score against him could be the final nail in Kiko Casilla's coffin. To be fair, if I'm being honest, he's gone from being a Champions League winner to playing against Mark Wright from Towie.
Only way he's Essex. That's brilliant.
In 2 years, he's gone from winning a Champions League to playing against. I mean, it's just it is the fall of Kiko at this moment in time. But yeah, look,
some fall from grace, isn't it?
I don't think have we ever seen a bigger fall from grace? I don't think we have. But look, Kiko's got to take responsibility for that himself. He's brought a lot of this, in terms of I think he's lucky to still be a Leeds player, to be honest. I think we've been a bit too lenient. And I still said it. I think I said it to Josh Hobbs. I would definitely be looking. We've got a problem if Ilan Meslier gets injured. There's no doubt about that. We have got a problem if Ilan Meslier gets injured. And I'm still thinking backup goalkeeper in January. And I think if he has a poor game against Crawley, it could potentially speed up the process. I think it really is last chance saloon now for him under Bielsa, to be honest.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I've just remembered as well, guys. Sorry, I need to remind everyone that this video is actually sponsored by Football Prizes. I've been that busy building flat pack furniture, my head's all over, and I forgot to introduce our sponsors. So let me just quickly do that now. Football Prizes sponsor Monday Night Football. Their link is in the description. This week you can get yourself a signed and framed Stuart Dallas shirt. Yorkshire's own, Leeds' own Stuart Dallas, Stan Mustard, apparently. Signed and framed, £4.95 a ticket. There's 99 tickets available. That ends next Wednesday the 13th of January at 7:30. So if that tickles your fancy, you want a Stuart Dallas, the Cookstown Cafu, signed and framed Leeds United shirt. Make that happen. Check them out. Their link is in the description. My apologies for not doing that right at the start. We did get a comment, and I'm going to come to you, Adonis, with this. So Rodrigo has flitted in and out for me. He's been great one week. Maybe he goes a little bit missing at times. It's because I think he's not used to that position. He's a number 9, isn't he, at the end of the day? But Duncan Hamilton has said Hernandez did well, and he has been doing well when he comes on. And I was thinking about it myself today. I'm thinking, is there a case at some point where we want to see him back starting games? If he was to play, say, against Crawley in the FA Cup and have a great performance, would you be banging that drum, Adonis? Would you like to see Hernandez in ahead of Rodrigo?
If Pablo's fit, I think he should be playing. He creates things. He's basically dragged us to the Premier League. First player in our history to win Player of the Season 3 seasons in a row. He's an exceptional talent, and we won't have him for that long. I think Rodrigo has been getting up to speed with the system. He's undoubtedly a fantastic player, and he's going to be an incredible player for us in the future. But you've seen players that we've brought in before need time to get up to speed with Bielsa's system and also the fitness levels required. I don't know what happened, what went wrong with Pablo and throwing the armband down on the Remembrance Sunday game. We all kind of assumed that was a wacko rumor, and then it turned out he wasn't in the squad, and it wasn't because he wasn't fit. So there was definitely something that had to be patched up and worked out. But he seems like he's back up to speed now. He's got the highest expected goals and assists per 90 out of the squad. Although I do think that is because he came on and got 2 assists in about 5 minutes. So I think he's earned the right to fight for his place. I think he's earned the right to get back in Bielsa's good books by apologizing publicly in a very public way for the throwing the armband down. I think he's earned the right, after dragging us to the Premier League, to start a few games in the Premier League. And if he gets that chance, I hope he takes it, because he wasn't that great at the start of the season. There was one time where I think he hit the crossbar. I think it was against Man City.
Leicester,
I could be wrong. But yeah, so he's looked a bit patchy, but I think he deserves a chance.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, okay,
I mean,
Leicester, yeah. But you know that A, we're going to lose to Crawley, and B, Pablo's going to get injured.
Typical.
Yeah, but stats. Obviously, Pablo Hernandez has. I think we went through a period of time where he weren't getting games, where we were worrying that he actually might be linking up with Carlos Corberan in Huddersfield, and I know that was muted, but I certainly would like to see him end his career at this football club. He's been an amazing servant, and if he wants to have a good performance, you want to see him getting game time, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He was a massive mainstay of the promotion-winning season. You just look at the Stoke game last season, the 5-0 game, just quiet, then just absolutely brilliant. At one point, I just wanted to make about the Tottenham game that no one seems to have made. Tottenham had an extra couple of days rest. They had a game called off against Fulham, obviously due to COVID reasons. Leeds worked the socks off against Burnley. Okay, the 5-0, they probably eased off a bit. But it's also the travelling to London as well. And Tottenham did look a lot fresher. I'm not making that as an excuse, because Leeds were well beaten in the end and Tottenham deserved the victory. But it's hard at this time of year to be playing, 3 games in 6 days, especially back to back. So I maybe was a bit surprised. Maybe he didn't rotate his squad, but I think he will do at the weekend in the FA Cup tie. But just going back to Hernandez, I think what he's done for Leeds, as Adonis says, to get 3 Player of the Year awards in a row is phenomenal. He's been an absolute mainstay of this season under Gary Monk, Christensen, Heckingbottom, and now Bielsa. I'd love him to see his career. I hope he don't go to Huddersfield with Corberan. He's been brilliant. He's scored some brilliant goals from his first against Cardiff, and just been a real massive influence on the team. And he's an experienced head. So Yeah, I think he may start at Crawley on Sunday. Then obviously we've got back-to-back home games against Brighton and Southampton to come in the league.
Yeah, definitely. I do. I just want to pick up this comment as well here, just from Colin Campbell, who says our defence is laughable. Though, come on now, you must not forget, as a Leeds United fan, you know we are missing Robin Koch and Diego Llorente, who are both fully fledged internationals. Like Oscar said earlier on, if you take any fully fledged internationals, just one, let alone two, out from any side in the Premier League, they're going to struggle. The fact we are playing Luke Ayling at centre-back, who, by the way, to be honest, I say that, but he's been absolutely brilliant there. But you get what I'm saying, yeah? We're having to... He's probably our best centre-back.
Mate, he's starting for England at the Euros at this rate. It's going.
Yeah, it's brilliant. But Oscar, let's move it on. Obviously, you can't really dive too much in Tottenham. We were beaten. You know, it is what it is. These things happen. We're okay with it, and that's all that matters. Crawley at the weekend, FA Cup. First of all, would you like a cup run, Oscar, or do you see it as a bit of a nuisance? And what you wanting? I guess my question, rather than say Willie Matches, who are you wanting to not be near the starting 11? Because we know we've seen it before where we're like, just don't play them, and Bielsa persists with having them on the bench and maybe brings them on a little bit earlier than we'd like. And who are you wanting to not be anywhere near that squad? Get some rest, I guess.
Again, it's a hard one because I just think at this stage now, I think I said to you on the watch along, I think we're in such a almost privileged position in the league that we're quite clear of the relegation zone. It would have to take a real catastrophic run of form for us to go near. I think we could probably lose our next 10 games and still be above the relegation zone, to be honest, the way things are going. So we're in a privileged position, really. And I think we should really be looking to take it seriously in the Cup. But having said that, I do want the starting 11 to have the likes of, Pablo in it, Leif Davis, probably Struijk start. I'd probably start Struijk again just to get him, keep the rhythm going, keep the momentum going for Pascal Struijk, and get him playing alongside another centre-back partner as well might be something quite handy. Certainly Luke Ayling. I think Luke Ayling I'd like to see have a rest. He's playing too much. Obviously, Mateusz Klich I'd like to see have a rest too. But I'm thinking other than that, maybe Jack Harrison as well, actually. Jack Harrison obviously getting through a lot of work rate. I can't really think of any other players apart from those three who I'd think I wouldn't want in the squad. I think I'd still want a really strong bench. I still want the likes of Bamford on the bench. In case it does turn a bit nasty at Crawley, it could happen. It's an FA Cup. Anything can happen. I don't know a lot about Crawley, to be honest. I'm not sure what the style is, but you'd imagine they'll be probably a lot more physical than us, and it might call for some options off the bench, some more experienced heads. But I'd imagine it'll be a young team. Paveda will probably start on the right, you'd imagine. Again, will we see Joffrey Gelhardt, Sam Greenwood, Jack Jenkins? I think there's a case to throw at least one or two of them in. I'm not sure if you can throw them all in at once. I think that probably is a bit of an ask, getting them all in the team at once, in terms of, I think you do need some experienced heads around them. But I really want us to take the Cup seriously this season. I really want us to take... Because if we go out the Cup, all of a sudden then you're looking at the rest of the season and thinking, it's like... And look, it's great to be in the Premier League, but for me, the Cup now, you look at it, I think the top teams, the top six, they've got so many games coming up. 2 games a week, then the Champions League coming in, Europa League. I think there's a massive opportunity for a team outside the top 6 to win the FA Cup this year, to be honest. So I want to take it seriously.
Well, what about you, Adonis? Would you like a cup run, mate?
Can we afford it? Can we afford to lose those players? Can we afford to go to the likes of Crawley, where there's a pandemic going, and perhaps, I hesitate to say, not as good COVID testing and awareness and facilities as the Premier League? Will it even go ahead? So to me, the FA Cup is not important. We've waited 16 years to get back into the Premier League. And that has to be the focus, in my opinion, just to stay up. I know that we're not in danger of it. I do realise that. But if you advocate taking Phillips, even the likes of Melier, I know keepers normally don't start in the Cup, but still, Strauch, I heard you saying, Oscar. You know, if we lose, we lose Strauch. We haven't got too many centre backs left. You know what I mean? And if we lose Phillips, look what happened last time Phillips didn't play. We lost 4-1 twice in a row. Yeah. So I think there is a danger of saying, look, we're safe now, so let's go on a cup run. I think that's a bit dangerous to me. Crawley Town away seems like the perfect victory for a giant killing. And if that means we stay in the Premier League, I will happily take that. In reality, in my opinion, I think most teams outside of the Big Six, they get to the semi-final, maybe the quarterfinals or the semi-final, maybe, and then they get knocked out by Man City. And it's all, we don't need the money. If we were in the Championship, I'd say yes, let's go for it, because, you know, or League One, you could imagine the kind of revenue that could change your whole season. That could change the next season. That could change a transfer window. But for us, it's not. We don't need it. We're gonna get another 100 million soon from the Premier League anyway. So for me, on a crappy pitch that, to be fair, is probably better than Ellen Road at the moment, I would leave the Crown Jewels at home. I would play the kids, get Eddie Gray in, protect Bielsa from COVID as well. So actually, protect Eddie Gray. Yeah, maybe Mark Jackson. Get Mark Jackson down and the kids. You know, and if they get a result, they get a result, and if they don't, oh well, let's stay in the Premier League.
Yeah. Okay. See, so that's different. A difference of opinion between Oscar and Adonis, which is fair enough. I get it why some people wouldn't want it, and some people in the comments are saying, "Oh no, I'd like that."
Oscar. I'll fight you.
The only thing I'd say is, I would personally rather, if it was a choice between finishing, say, 9th and getting beat by Crawley, or finishing 14th, 15th, but having a real chance. Which the only thing I disagree with Adonis is this year, I think the likes of City and Man United, I don't think they'll put full teams out at any stage in the Cups, because I don't think they can, with so many games being played in such a short space of time. So I think if there was ever a time for Bielsa to win, say, a big trophy, because I still class that Championship as a trophy, but the critics will say, oh, it's not a major trophy. But this is the real chance for me, for Bielsa to, you never know. But for me, if it was a choice between 9th or 8th and no cup run, or a cup run and the thrill of a cup run until like the semi-finals, I'm taking the cup run, you know. I'm taking the cup run and the thrill of it.
It would be nice, I guess. It would be, wouldn't it? It would be definitely 100%. Stats, two different opinions there, mate. Obviously, being a stat man, knowing your history, loving your history, I bet you love the FA Cup. So what's your opinion? Well, I'm guessing anyway, but what's your opinion on it?
I grew up watching the FA Cup on Grandstand, on Football Focus, on Match of the Day, and we've not had a cup run. And I mean a cup run by getting to the 6th round, the last 8 since 2003. For a club of Leeds United stature, that's disgusting. I want a cup run this year. I think what's imperative, there's no replays. It's a one-off game. If it goes to penalties, it goes to penalties, so be it. Yes, I don't want to see the big guns, the likes of Phillips, the likes of Clitt, the likes of Bamford. I think they'll all stay at Ellen Road. I want a cup run. I believe there's an opportunity here for Leeds to have a cup run with the way they play. They should be beating Crawley. Anything can happen. When Gary Monk put that team out at Sutton 4 seasons ago, I was disgusted, because that just basically handed the game to Sutton. Yes, I know we're trying to get promoted from the Championship. The FA Cup, okay, isn't what it was. I get that. But this is an opportunity against a side, no disrespect to Crawley, who are 6th in League Two, against a side that are in 11th, 12th place in the Premier League, to go on a little bit of a cup run and get a little bit of momentum going. It's one extra game. There's no replays. And for me, growing up as a kid, watching the FA Cup final from breakfast grandstand and what have you, this is an opportunity to present itself to go on a little run. And I want to win that game on Sunday.
Love that stats. Now, do you know what as well? I genuinely forgot about there being no replays, which I think is huge as well, to be fair. Definitely. And I would put us against anybody, So in a one-off, one game, one shootout, why not? Yeah, let's do it.
Let's not forget Arsenal won it last year. We know how bad Arsenal are. They managed to win it last year. They managed to upset the odds.
Yeah, that's true. But stats just on the game. So who would you? I know you cover a lot of the. Who would you expect to come in? Do you think? Do you think we'll see Geldart and Greenwood, or I'm thinking more along the lines of the lads that are currently on the bench, the likes of Huggins, Jenkins, etc., and maybe Geldart and Greenwood will make the bench for the FA Cup tie?
I think because we've had such a short amount of games in such a short space of time, I think he will rest the likes of Phillips, the likes of Klitsch, the likes of Bamford. Harrison, I think, will be left at home. I think Dallas will be left at home. And I think you might see the likes of Charlie Cresswell, who obviously played in the cup tie against Hull City early in the season. You might see Joffrey on there, Sam Greenwood on there. Has McKinstry gone out on loan? I can't remember off the top of my head. Was he still?
I don't think he's gone out on loan, mate. No.
That's another one you might see, just to give them some game time, to give them some opportunity to what it's like at that level. So it's just a shame the likes of Arthur McCallum is having a real wilder time at Oldham at the moment. Bryce Hassan is doing really well at Bradford City. But yeah, play some of the young guns. Don't go for young guns. They still need some experience. I think the likes of Alioski may play. I think Hernandez, it'll be perfect for him. But yeah, it's an opportunity, as I say, against Crawley. I think Kiko starting goal. Go and win the game and get the job done. It won't be an easy pitch. Crawley are doing well under John Yems in League 2 at the moment. Very funny manager with some of his post-match interviews.
I've seen him. He's mental, isn't he?
Yeah. Is he dead honest about everything? What
makes he say? I don't care what the fans or what the press say about me. Honestly, it's brutal, man. Some of it.
Yeah. It's a tricky game. Obviously, the pressure's on Leeds this time, and it's probably the first time this season, since probably the Hull City Cup tie, when it was very flat, that Leeds are going into a game they're expected to win.
Yeah. And do you know what, Stats? If he does make changes, as long as we don't see anywhere close to that performance against Hull, I'll be all right. Because I was it was terrible that game. Yeah, I thought the lads that were given a chance, the likes of Roberts, etc., just were woeful that day. It was a really, really poor performance for me. So
and that's another interesting one you touched on there with Tyler Roberts. There's a lot of speculation with his future at the moment, and he might be one of the players that does go out on loan or does seek a transfer out of Ellen Road.
Yeah, and I think if he was to go out on loan, alone being in number 9 in his preferred position at a championship club, get him a lot of games. Let's see what he's about, because at the minute I just can't see him breaking through, because when he's given chances, he's not grabbing them for me. So that's Crawley. Adonis, January is upon us. Silly season, crazy time. I know a lot of Leeds fans will be expecting business to be done, or maybe not. I think we're all pretty smart enough to know. I think anyway, some still will want it done. That not a lot will get done, if any at all. What do you think we'll do anything in Adonis? And if we do, where do you think we need to strengthen? Who do you think we might get in?
Well, we know that there aren't any plans, so it's just about if an opportunity comes up, like it did with Rafinha. So, who knows? If an opportunity comes up, like it did with Rafinha, then I guess they'll jump on that. And if not, then I don't think we'll do anything. We all know Marcelo likes a small squad, and it doesn't appear to have made any difference that 3 centre-backs are injured. So yeah, I don't think so. I think a lot of people are talking about Charlie Taylor, for example. I think Leif Davis is there. He's looked good to me. I think if the argument is Alioski needs to be dropped till he can recover some form, then why not give Leif Davis a go? And honestly, I think that's probably Bielsa's attitude as well. So I don't expect anything. No. I mean, people talk about, people talk about Rodrigo de Paul or Lewis Cook for 9 million, supposedly. You know, there's all sorts of different, that there's a Pugo, or however I don't know if I probably butchered his name. Puigi. I've got no idea how to say it.
Oscar will be able to tell us about
Ricky Puig.
Puig.
That's not realistic. That's I don't think that's realistic, to be honest. But I mean, if we did, that'd be unreal. But I mean, Adonis, your words on Leeds Davis.
Yeah. Music to your ears.
Music to my ears, my friend. Music to my ears.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
And just I just wanted to wrap up my issue with the cup, and just to clarify it, there's no one who would love to win a cup more than I would. Oh, Stats just gone.
Just as you were giving us your speech on the cup, he was like, "I've had enough."
Just as I was clearing my throat and getting ready, getting my teeth into it. There he goes. I usually have that effect on women, but apparently it's happened with Stats as well now. I just don't think it's a big enough prize to gamble on. If it was the FA Cup final, fair enough. But it's Crawley away in the middle of a pandemic, and that is screaming alarm bells to me. I've got concerns for Bielsa. The last thing I want to hear is that we've gone to Crawley and Bielsa's come back with COVID, and we've got 3 players out. First team players out with COVID, another 2 have been injured. You know what I mean? Like, that's, to me, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. Let them have their giant killing. I couldn't care about the cup. In 2 years' time, when we've had a couple more transfer windows and we've got a better and a bigger squad, go for it. Go for it. And COVID's not an issue and everyone's been vaccinated, go for it. Let's do it then. But now, for me, it's too risky. I'd be wrapping Bielsa up in cotton wool. I'd be saying, "There you go, Mr. Bielsa," and he'd be saying, "Adonis, why have you tied me to the chair?" I'd be saying, "Don't worry about it, sir. Everything's fine. We're just waiting on a vaccine." Okay.
Yeah, love that. Thanks for clarifying that. Although you didn't need to, because people, regardless anyway, will just say, "Nah, the cup, nah, sack it off." But it will always split opinions, I guess. But Oscar, January, you mentioned your man Poogie there. Do you think it'll happen? I still think Rodrigo de Paul. I still think I don't know. There's just something there, but I think Victor might surprise us. I was of the thinking that nothing will happen, but I think an opportunity might present itself. Look, we're going to be all right, but I would like to see somebody in just because, it's January and I want to see some business done. But what are your thoughts? Why is it unrealistic for us to be going after the kid from Barca? I believe it was a case of him saying he wanted to go under Bielsa, or was that just paper talk?
Well, I think Barcelona Barcelona's just a complete mess, by the way. I think if they were in the Premier League right now, they'd probably be in a relegation battle, to be honest. They are that bad. But it's just very political at Barcelona at the minute. Like, the board's wanting to play. The board see him as like the next wonder kid. I've seen him play a couple of times and thought, wow, this kid's special. But he's just not liked by the manager, Ronald Koeman. So it's an interesting one. If Ronald Koeman gets sacked, I think that's part of the debate. If the presidential election dictates that Koeman's gone, I think that means Puig is automatically. So it's a really complicated one with Barcelona, but I think there's a couple of other Spanish clubs in for him. I think Betis, we're looking at him, Sevilla. So we've got quite big competition there. But look, if we get him, I think Barcelona would be mad not to loan him out to us. Under Marcelo Bielsa, I think he's a perfect player for our system. Really hard-working kid, full of energy. But yeah, look, I think Rodrigo de Paul, the price just seems to be going up and up and up and up and up on that. I think I saw mentions of Juventus looking at him, Andrea Pirlo. So obviously that's a massive.
He's doing crazy numbers as well this season as well, and
that's the thing. Yeah, numbers. I think he's on. What was it? If chances created, he's in the top 5 in Europe, isn't he, at the minute? But the only thing I'd say about de Paul is, if we are talking £40 million for de Paul, can we justify that at the minute, or would we be better spending 20 million on one player and 20 million on another? I'm not sure. And to be honest, I think our issue isn't goal scoring, so I don't necessarily think we need a creative player. I think it's more. I think the issue we've got is if Mateusz Klich got injured or continues, his run of form isn't great at the minute. I think it's very much showing the fact that we've not really got a Mateusz Klich style of player in this squad at the minute. I think Jamie Shackleton is probably the closest to that. but I still think Bielsa seems to prefer him as a fullback, which is fair enough. You know, Xhaka's got a lot of attributes you look in the fullback. So for me, I'd be looking for an out-and-out click backup. I think Elise has been mentioned as well from Reading. I know Josh Hobbs has written about him quite a lot, to be fair. I'm a massive fan of his. And he sounds like
8 million as well, I think, which is something we could
price.
do.
I could, you know, I think obviously DePaul is the far better player, but 40 million is a bit like the Ben White situation. I see it as, you know, you definitely take them, but can you justify that amount of outlay when you can spend the money, you know, in different ways? And for me, I don't think we need to do anything big in January. I don't think it's the time to make a marquee signing. I don't think for a club of our stature, it traditionally goes well. You know, you look at Wolves. You know, Wolves spent 35 million on Fabio Silva and 30 million on Semedo at fullback. If you gave them that 65 million back, I'm sure they're doing something different with it now. I'm sure they're doing, and that's the thing. You know, but that's the thing when you get to January and transfer windows, when you start looking too much at that league table, and Victor Orta won't do that. You know, Victor Orta is sensible, and you know what it's like. The players we're talking about right now will not be the players Victor Orta is looking at. You know, Rafinha, that just came out of nowhere, that one. Llorente was like, it was an hour before.
So did Rodrigo Moreno.
All these players.
You know, I was in Benidorm at the time. I remember when it happened. Cuisance as well. That was like over a few days. But I think the mad thing is that, like you say about that midfield position, Cuisance was done. He was in the door. He was there. And then obviously had the issue with his foot. So I think that's probably a position that they're looking at strengthening and probably need to. Because like you said, if Click gets injured, we're up shit creek without a paddle, really, if I'm being totally honest. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how January goes. Like you say, I think we'll all accept that maybe not a lot will get done, although some of us would like it. I think we'll be linked to people left, right and centre. You know, you spoke about, obviously, can we afford to pay 40 million and is it a bit of a daft? I still think Llorente at 18 million, we might look back on that and think it's a lot of money. I just think when I look back, and at the time as well, when we were going after the kid that I forget what his name was, where did he end up going now?
What was his name? His name's Croatian. Went to
I forgot his name. Yeah, I know exactly.
Went to Leipzig. He was of an age.
That's his name. Joseph Vardiol.
Vardiol, that was it. Yeah. He was of an age where 18 million was decent and he was going to progress, and obviously he went to Leipzig and probably will. But I just think 18 million for the rent.
One thing I'd say is that let's not forget who's just got the PSG job. Can we build a bit of a relationship there? You know, Bielsa and Poch, not people like Draxler. Draxler's not going to come to us. But
why does that keep coming back up, do you think, then? Because it was mentioned in the summer as well.
It doesn't need Draxler, but there's been nothing like from Phil Hay or anyone around the club. But why not look at some of the PSG youngsters? You know, they've got a very, you know, in terms of the academy players they've produced over the last couple of years, you know, PSG, why don't we try and build a bit of a relationship there? You know, you're not telling me Bielsa and Poch haven't spoken since Poch took the PSG job. Of course, the first person he spoke to will have been Bielsa in terms of should I take this job, should I not? And, you know, it'll be an interesting one in that sense. You know, I wouldn't surprise you, would it? You know, we've already seen with Tottenham and Leeds, there was a bit of business done about Jack Clarke. You might see between, I know that was a favour from Poch to Bielsa, the 10 million, wasn't it? Let's be honest. But you know, it was a thank you. It was a thank you, Mr. Bielsa kind of thing. No disrespect to Jack Clarke.
Poch had nothing to do with that deal. And he actually complained about it in the press conference afterwards. And the other thing is, just to clarify, that Bielsa said that he wouldn't feel comfortable using his contacts in that kind of way because he was asked the question if he would speak to Pep or if he would speak to Poch and try and get some academy players or whatever. So just quick clarification. But yeah, sorry, continue.
Well, that's yeah.
Sorry, Oscar.
that's my idea at the window, man. I was going to get Mbappe on loan here, Adonis. You know, I was going to get Mbappe and Neymar. You know, they could have sat on the bench for Bamford and Jack Harrison. To be fair, so you know,
6 months later, you know, I never heard back from those old Leeds TV guys.
Don't be daft, mate. Don't be daft. Right, okay, it's that time. We've had a decent show, but it's time to hand over to Oscar and for our guests to take us through They're ultimate Leeds five-a-side team: 1 goalkeeper, 1 defender, 2 midfielders, and 1 attacker. Adonis is looking like, oh God, I forgot what it is. I need to quickly check.
Joe, you've got mine, because I've lost mine on my phone.
It's all right. We'll flash you up on the screen, Stat.
Oh, fabulous.
We'll flash you up on the screen, Adonis, and you can talk us through it. So don't worry.
Red-handed. Caught red-handed.
I've seen you like, oh God, shit, where is it?
I've got a face that can't lie. It's very expressive.
But, I'll hand over to Oscar, and he can take us through.
So we'll go to Adonis first. So, I mean, to be fair, I mean, there's some very different ways of looking at this. I mean, Lucas Radeby in goal, Calvin at the back. Talk us through it, mate.
Well, this team is undefeatable. You're not actually going to be able to score against this team. So, and all of your players are going to be injured within the first 3 or 4 minutes. So basically, if we've still got a couple of players left on the pitch, then we're going to win the game, basically, because all your team are going to be injured, and Charles up front, the gentle giant, is going to be smashing in goals for fun. So Radeby, obviously, he's, when it's 5-a-side, you don't need Nigel Martin in there. So there's going to be a lot of stuff you got to do with your feet. But he's also a fairly good keeper as well. So Lucas, the Chief, goes in first, and then protecting him is KP. No, I don't think there's anything I have to explain about this team, really. Then you've got Batty, who's just causing mayhem and sliding in balls for Charles, and then you've got Bremer doing basically exactly the same. And obviously Charles was centre back as well. So it's basically 5 defenders who all could do something going forward. We've seen Radeby score overhead kicks and all that. So yeah,
that is
I don't really know what else to say about it.
That is the hardest team I think I've ever seen, to be fair. Batty, Bremer, Charles, Phillips, Radeby. I'll tell you what that would be like, though. Whichever team it came up against. You remember at school when, like, the year 11s used to play against, like, the year 7s?
Yeah.
It'd be like that, wouldn't it? It'd just be like, you'd just turn up and you'd just be like, yeah, this isn't ending well, is it? I mean, that is just like just a solid team, isn't it? It's a solid team.
It's the first time we've had Radeby in goal. Anyway, we'll put that out there. And obviously, Calvin's popped up at people's centre backs a few times. To be fair, Batty shows up all the time. He's probably one of the most picked players. It used to be Pablo, but we see Batty week in, week out now, to be fair. But yeah, first time with Charles as well. First time with the gentle giant, to be fair. Billy as well, only his 2nd appearance, I think, in this, which is absolutely crazy when you think about it. He doesn't get picked an awful lot. Maybe that's due to the age of the guests and stuff. And a lot of people want to say, oh, well, I picked the one that I've seen in the flesh, etc. But we leave it up totally to the guests. And as you can see, Adonis is off his head. So that's why he's picked just...
The other thing I wanted to mention about my selection is I tried to pick a player from each generation, sort of. So that's what I wanted to do. Create a team that is going to absolutely destroy you and destroy everything that you like and everything that you love and everything that you hate, and win every single game all the time, and just like shithouse everybody and just knock everyone off the ball and foul all the time. And yeah, that's it. Yeah. There we go. That's Leeds. That's proper Leeds. That is.
That is. I think that is quintessential Leeds, actually, to be fair. That is Leeds. Dirty Leeds. It should be just dirty Leeds. But, I think when we put that out on Twitter, on the old poll, I think it'll do pretty well, to be fair. But yeah, stats, you're up next, I believe, Oscar.
Let's have a little look at your team's stats. Okay, so what's interesting about this one is that it's all players from kind of a similar era, kind of the very late 90s for Jimmy Floyd, and then very early 2000s for the rest of them. Talk me through the board, mate.
Yeah, I've tried to do players from my era that had a big influence on me growing up, and as good as this team has done in getting promotion to the Championship, from the Championship to the Premier League. The players you've seen there played at the highest level. Obviously, Jimmy didn't play in the Champions League for us. I'll start back to front. The best goalkeeper I've ever seen in my lifetime, Nigel Martin, signed from Crystal Palace in the summer of '96. Went on to make over 200 appearances for the club. I think he made one or two mistakes in those appearances. Just one of the best keepers I've seen. And even though when he was injured, I think against Barcelona when Robbo came and he was magnificent that night for us. But yeah, just brilliant. I was gutted when he left, when he fell out with, I think, Terry Venables. But one of the best keepers I've seen. Moving on to centre half, Lucas Radeby, again solid. Took his time to sort of settle after joining from Kaiser Chiefs, after Phil Masinga God rest his soul, joined from Mamelodi Sundowns in the summer of 1994. Again, solid, brilliant, made some wonderful tackles, made club captain. Just a shame he had so many injuries, and even in his last season, he got injured against, I think, Wolves in the third game. They made his last appearance. I think it was his 200th league appearance against Rotherham on the last day of the season. Also, get a testimonial. Not many Leeds players get testimonials these days. I actually think the Chief was the last one to have a testimonial in 2005. And then you've kind of got the engine room, and these two in that Champions League season, Lee Bowyer was just unbelievable. I know he had his off-field problems, but some of the performances he put in, and there's the one game that I'll never forget, was against Adelites at Ellen Road. He'd been in court in Hull in the morning, and I think he got driven or flown to the game against Anderlecht that night. He played his socks off, and he won us the game in the 87th minute. And he was just, for me, one of my heroes growing up. Same with Ollie Dakar, Mr. Dependable again. And again, there's another story of the Anderlecht game, that their manager at the time, after the game at Ellen Road, Ami Anthea, said that Leeds weren't very good. Dakar translated that for the players from, I don't know what language they were speaking in Belgium, and he translated it, and just a brilliant play. I love Ollie Dakar, scored his first goal against Arsenal, brilliant in the Champions League. And now this one, I struggled. I could have picked Viduka, who was phenomenal. I could have picked Yeboah, who could hit a ball. And this isn't the Hasselbank that's just taking a job at the Burnt Albion, who's got a tough job and after losing, I think, 5-1 at home to Oxford on Saturday. The way Hasselbank hits a ball in the 98-99 season, it stayed hit. Some of the goals he scored were brilliant. And I just think you've got everything there, from goalkeeper, defence, midfield and strike. And I think not many teams will probably get past that team.
Nice. It's good. It is good.
I tell you what, I love that midfield battle between the two teams. Bowyer and Dakar versus Bremner and Batty. That's what you call proper the tackles flying in that game. Flipping out. The tackles in that game.
The others on the pitch, I think we've done something well.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know how Jimmy Floyd will do leading the line though. I'm not his biggest fan, if I'm being totally honest. I was glad when he got the Burton job, so that we would not have to deal with him on Sky or BT or Amazon or anything anymore until he gets sacked. Sorry.
I'm surprised he didn't take. I'm surprised he didn't take Karen Carney as his assistant.
To be fair, when was it after the game?
Could he not have taken her as well?
on BT, they went to her after the game, and she just pied it off. She said, "Yeah, it was a good result for Spurs, but I'm more concerned about my own game." And I was like, "Oh, there's a little bit of salt there." Like, obviously, yeah. Be interesting to see.
Though, isn't it? But from the actual broadcast, I think that's a good idea. Talk about stirring it though, in terms of
that's what I mean. The guy who
so
did
immature from the putting both.
It's a bit like Final Score or whatever. No, sorry, Soccer Saturday, isn't it, on BT?
Yeah.
And he went, "Good result then for Tottenham, Karen," and she went, "Yeah, it was, yeah, but I'm more concerned about my Swansea versus whatever game that I'm doing," and that was it. And I was like, "Oh, that's bit dodgy." But they were obviously looking for a bit of something, weren't they? But yeah, nothing happened. But that is another episode of Monday Night Football done. I'm just going to, before I let our lovely guests, give them a little moment to shine and tell us what they're doing in their current content creating days, whatever you want to say. I'll just remind everyone that we are sponsored by Football Prizes. You can get yourself a lovely signed and framed Stuart Dallas Leeds United shirt, just £4.95 a ticket. There are 99 tickets available, and you've got to be in it to win it. Remember, guys, honestly, it's not like I won this Marcelo Bielsa signed winners medal. I'd only entered once and won that, so make sure you get involved because it can happen. Got to be in it to win it and all that jazz. But yeah, Adonis, we'll come to you first of all. So the Adelites, you're now doing the Roaring Peacock podcast. Here's your moment to shine. Tell the people that are watching this that don't know what it is. Yeah, I'll hand over to you, Mama.
Yeah, so if you want more Leeds United content, if you're thirsty for it, go over to search for the Roaring Peacock on YouTube or in your podcast player, and there we are. We're talking. We've got very, very average opinions. We're just a group of normal people who are talking about Leeds, and there's really no need to go over and find us and subscribe, really. But if you're bored, you're in lockdown, you've got nothing better to do, give us a try. We swear a lot. I did see that you overtook us on the swearing stakes in one of your recent watch-alongs. But aside from that, I feel like we. Sorry, I had to say it.
All the time as Adonis. He's looking at me. He's had a couple of digs at me, and now he's having to dig at everyone on this.
You know what my response is? I'll give you my response. Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off!
Yeah. Well, if you like that sort of thing, come over to the Roaring Peacock. Because we do that. We swear a lot. There you go. That's it.
Is it just post-match Adonis or pre-post? What's the stuff?
Yeah, we do. I see you haven't subscribed, Joe. Thanks very fucking much.
No, this is the moment. This is the moment for you to tell them, man. I have. I watched the latest one. Riot Badger, you had Barney on. I give you the chance to be able to tell everyone. It's my broadcasting skill, Adonis.
I'm never not going to be taking the piss. Okay, so yes, we do match previews. We do match reviews. We do a main cast as well. And we're just dribbling shit most of the time. And yeah, come along and get involved. Yeah, that's it.
He's a bit of a wind-up merchant, so it's that kind of vibe on their podcast. Yeah, so make sure make sure you check it out. And Stats, what are you doing now? Are you still covering the ladies' Stats? What's going on with you?
I was up until lockdown.
Sorry.
Yeah, I would assume we're waiting for confirmation from the FA that, unfortunately, due to lockdown, I'm guessing that will be put on hold. For the time being, I'll just be regurgitating stuff out on my Twitter feed. I'll be coming up with stats, obviously working ahead to the FA Cup tie, and then looking ahead to obviously the Brighton games, the Southampton games, and just hopefully posting different stats that I can think of that are different to the normal statistics, really. And of course, I've also got my book out as well, the 100 Years of Leeds United. We did a re-release for the championship winning season. Brilliant for it.
Someone wrote in, didn't they? A certain someone wrote in, didn't they, Stats?
They did indeed, Oscar, yes. And I think Mr. Adonis did as well. Had a nice little piece in there as well. So very, 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 very proud of it all, and really proud with all the efforts of it. And it's something there if you do get bored during lockdown, it's available in the club shops. I think you have to go online now. The shops are going to be open. But yeah, I'm really, really proud of it, and it's something that I can just look back on with a great sense of pride.
Of course, man. It's an amazing achievement.
Very proud of it. Especially in the summer when we'd made a decision if Leeds were to get promoted, what would we do? And I just thought, yeah, let's do it. And I had a 6-week turnaround from having the idea of, luckily we had the most of it done. I tried to get other interviews that were difficult to get hold of. But yeah, it's a really good read. Some really fascinating stories in there.
Honestly, to do that and then to have the club put it out and sell it, like you say,
very much
amazing. And for anyone who don't know, Oscar also was in it, Adonis, like you said. Yeah. So yeah, I can't string 5 sentences. Well, 1 sentence. I can't punctuate. I can't use grammar. I'm literally not good at English, right? So for you to be able to write a book, he's absolutely amazing, man. So class
Thank
work.
you very much. Thank you very much. And hopefully there'll be more in the pipeline. I think I'm just taking a break from writing while lockdown takes place.
Cool. Yeah, someone's just said, LUFC Live's just said, are you on all stats, aren't we, or LUFC data? Because I think you went for it where you were the only guy, right? You were the only stat man.
Yes. Yeah, no, LUFC data, Chris Taylor just reached the website. I must say it's fantastic.
Yeah.
We help each other out when we can. All stats, aren't we, are a bit different. They're more sort of tactical based and have been on there. And they do an absolutely fantastic job. So we've all got our own little niches out there, and it's all good to have different content from different Leeds supporters.
Definitely. And while you're at it, have a chat with your man LUFC Data, because I've had a few messages with him, and he's like, "Oh, I've done podcasts and stuff, but I'm not too sure about actually going on camera." And I'm like, "You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Really want to get you on." So Stats, have a word in his ear for me, will you?
You're pressuring him into this, Joe. You're pressuring him into it. Just leave this poor lad alone.
We need the views, Adonis. We need the views.
Yeah.
I know you're thirsty for it, but geez, come on.
No, but honestly, fantastic show. Great laugh, as always. Make sure you check out the Roaring Peacock, Adelites on Twitter, Adonis. Make sure you check out Stats Work. Me and Oscar will be, might be a quiet week with it being the FA Cup in Crawley Town, but I'm sure we'll fill up your space somehow. I don't know what I'm saying now, but yeah. I'm going to do that awkward bit where we end the podcast, all right? So well, it's not even a podcast, the video. My head's all over. Adonis has sent me, he's got into my head now with his jibe. I'm going to leave it there. Have a great week, everyone, and look after yourself during this national lockdown as well. Sport is still going ahead, by the way. Football will still continue, which is a massive plus because it helps a lot of us, I think. But as long as everyone stays safe, then that's the main thing, and look after yourself. And we'll see you in a bit, and we'll do